Hey guys, so I have one of my cool hats on, so it's another episode of Nerd Effects 101. Now I know I haven't done a video for this since the IMAX special, so I'm gonna be explaining about what today I'm gonna be explaining about what a foam latex prosthetic is. I'm also have some teeth to show you and a few other pieces to show you. First, I'm going to start with explaining what a foam latex piece is. So pretty much, I have one from a friend that I was working with this past in January when I went to IMAX. This is an armature. You use this to sculpt your pieces on, or maybe place pieces on for, to keep them safe. But usually these are used for sculpting prosthetic pieces, masks, cowls, ear pieces, or just general nose pieces, or any other thing you can think of. I got this from David Mosher at David Mosher Effects. He sells these. This is pretty much full scale. You can find out more about that at David Mosher's site. I'll see about getting that on, sending a link to that to check out all the other stuff that he has. And what also that I have to show you is an actual foam latex piece. This is a demon face prosthetic that my friend, sculpted and everything. And essentially, it would look a bit like this. It's kind of not fitting well, like you can tell, but essentially, this is what it would look like on a person once it's all glued down, straightforward, and everything. People usually use Pros-Aide. It's pronounced Pros-Aide, not Pros-Aide. Pros-Aide as in prosthetic adhesive. So it there's a lot of controversy on calling it Pros-Aide and um, Pros-Aide, but essentially you would glue these pieces to the person's face. It gives them a wide range of movement, mouth, make sure they can breathe out of it. I would say it's probably easier to get it on than getting it off later, since you need to use you need to use a specific remover for some of these pieces. So that's I've used a couple of pieces of that myself. I sort of self apply makeup. I have pictures of that on my Facebook page, my Twitter, and my Instagram page. I'm still getting used to using Instagram more, so I'll probably be posting more pictures later. I also want to talk to you about there's also earpieces. I have one right here. This could be used as a werewolf ear, orc ear, demon ear, maybe for a dragon character. You can essentially use all sorts of different pieces of a prosthetic to make something that you probably wouldn't even expect. I know watching Face Off and watching the makeup competitions at IMAX, it's really interesting to see what people come up with on the fly, you know, just like that. I know I was telling Face Off. Yeah, I Face Off is would be its own little story about that. There's a lot of love-hate relationships going on in that. But essentially, I saw, somebody taking two neck pieces to make a big mouthpiece for one of their makeups. And, people use eye bags for certain things, foils, using forehead pieces in different ways. I mean, there's just, besides the basic ways to use pieces, there are also alternative, out of the box ways to use them. Now back to the ear though. So essentially, since it kind of has like a hole in it and all this, this was probably one of the more easier pieces to put on, and as long as it's going along your ear, right here, I think it works good. I have a lot of hair, so it kind of is hard for me to blend edges that way. So yeah, there's lots of different pieces, nose pieces, eye patch pieces, lip pieces. There's also silicone prosthetics, latex prosthetics, foam latex prosthetics. There's a wide variety of paints you can use from. I'll do a video on the different paints, but the different paints are Pax paints, Illustrator, and the most used are Pax paints and Illustrator colors. And I'll explain more about those different paints in another video for you guys. Also, things that are made to, for makeups are, there's teeth pieces that I made. Now this is a set of werewolf teeth that I have. These were made by Steve Bosworth over in the UK. He sent me some teeth impression stuff, which was some thermoplastic, and I took impressions of my upper teeth, my lower teeth, and my bite line, and he was able to make these custom fit teeth for me, and he lives all the way out in the UK. I'll see about getting a link to his stuff too, as well as David Mosher's and a lot of other things. So essentially, a makeup is a monster makeup such as a vampire, a demon, a dragon, or my favorite, the werewolf, isn't really complete without the teeth, as you will now see. See? Now, I've had these teeth for about a year, and they still fit pretty good. There hasn't been any shrinkage, there hasn't been any change in my teeth at all. So they still fit pretty snug. they look great. I still really love them. I have other teeth sets from Dental Distortions, and some made by a dear friend of mine who passed away. My friend Grayson, who made me some custom vamp things at Dragon Con. He was a really dear friend to me. And, you know, he's one of the people who also inspire me to, you know, talk about this stuff and do it myself. But essentially, you know, there's these pieces, there's also masks that you can wear, and all that. Sorry, I got a little emotional when talking about my friend. But yeah, you know, so you just usually glue the pieces down, make sure, you know, you want to also make sure that before gluing it down, you want to do like a test fit to make sure, you know, everything fits properly and that it will properly glue down. You'll usually want to start when you're gluing the pieces. You'll usually start in the nose area. I think probably the nose area for me is the most difficult, essentially because generic prosthetics, as as much as they are generic, they don't actually fit everyone. And me personally, I have a pretty big nose, so usually when I put on these prosthetics, my nose holes are usually covered, so I'll be breathing out of my mouth, and usually that leads up to like a build up, and the lip piece really starts probably like the first part to, you know, come up. But applying also depends on, you know, the environment too. There's a lot of environmental factors that go into, you know, running foam latex, running other sorts of, you know, products to make things. Temperature is probably one of the most difficult things to deal with. Usually, especially if you're in California, sometimes it's too hot to do certain things, or like if you're in the UK, sometimes it's really too cold to do things, especially if you don't have the proper building or shop. It just makes things a little difficult. This is what I've heard from a few of my friends and from what I've actually seen. So I think, you know, I think you can probably take away a lot more knowledge of what you see on screen are usually the pieces, what you see on TV, such such as Teen Wolf, the werewolves, and that it's those are silicone prosthetics that are glued to the actors. You see some of that stuff. You see some of that in Grimm as well. One for like longer like fight scenes. You see, you know, characters in makeup rather than CGI. And those effects are the makeup effects are done by the great company B2FX. That is run by Barney Berman, and there's really great makeup artists who are working on that show. A lot of movies have really good effects, and it's not just, you know, making monsters that's about effects. There's also things like character makeups, like for example, in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, you know, those are usually those are usually all character makeups, you know, laying down the beards, and I'll talk more about laying down beards in another video. Also, like, making dead bodies or wounds. Like, one of the great shows that shows a lot of good injury effects and just some really, really grotesque themes is NBC's Hannibal. I recently had started watching the series, and I binge watched season 1, and I was just blown away by the amount of work that went into the effects, and I was just really surprised that you could show things like that on an NBC show. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, you know, there's a lot of subtle themes. Subtle makeups are good, old age makeups and whatnot. So it's not all about making, you know, monsters, and, you know, it's not all about making monsters, essentially. You know, you age people, you injure them up, you make them dead. There's a wide range of things you can do with special effects and makeup. And I guess I'll have a few more episodes for you guys in the future for, you know, makeups. I'll try to talk about some of my favorite shows and movies that have really great makeup effects. And I'll show you guys more stuff from my kit. So be on the lookout for more Nerd Makeup 101 from Antonio Jones. You know, you can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter at AntonioJ31, and you can follow me on Instagram at Antonio Jones Wolf as well. And with that, guys, this is into another great episode of Nerd Makeup 101 with Antonio Jones here at the Nerd Element. And you guys take care, and who knows, maybe in one video I'll be wearing the makeup. Stay tuned.